It's your
How
boy
y'all
Brian
doing?
Sanders, aka Amun Ra, aka the GOAT. Here with a few of my sports friends here, man. We decided to come together and put a little sports show together. Before and after the show, if you haven't already, make sure you check us out. You get on YouTube, you like us, you subscribe, and do the same thing on Facebook if you're not already following us. Without further ado, let me introduce you to these great guys and give you a little bit about their background and what they bring to the table. You guys go whenever you're ready.
Hey, my name is Vladi, man. I was born in Moldova, 1982. Moved to the United States of America on September 11th, 1998. So I missed the whole Jordan era. So forgive me. But since then, my first love was basketball, and I've been a big fan since I came to this country. And I'm a Seattle guy. So whatever you put in Seattle, it could be a rooster, it could be a chicken. If it's in the race and they got a Seattle jersey, I'm rooting for that motherfucker. And that's where I'm
Amen.
at. So I'm a Seattle guy to the bone. So that's all it is with me.
All right, all right. Who we got next?
All right, so my name's Amar. I'm a Seattle native. Um, you know, born here, raised here, living here now. Fan of Seattle Mariners, Seattle Supersonics, although they don't exist right now. Cleveland Browns, um, college basketball, college football, boxing, kickboxing, MMA. A lot of different sports. Got a lot of opinions. Work in sports media. Been a writer, editor. For my whole professional career. Um, so yeah, that's me.
All right, all right, all right.
All right, my name is Austin, and yeah, again, I'm a Washingtonian. I'm not a Seattle native. I'm a southeastern Washingtonian, so we're like the redheaded stepchild here. But I am absolutely a Seattle fan through and through, 100%, 1000%. My big one is football, as y'all can see.
All right, all right.
Go Hawks, baby. But football's my big one, but I love basketball, follow it almost as closely, but just a wide array of things, WNBA, boxing, MMA, loosely follow baseball, just been a sports fan my whole life, played sports all the way up through school, all that good stuff. And there ain't nothing I love more than reading on, talking about anything that has to do with sports. So I'm so happy to be doing this with y'all.
Welcome, welcome. Glad to have you, Austin. What's up, Dre? Talk to us. D-Town in the building. We can't hear you, Dre.
Can't hear you.
Uh, what happened was, yeah. So I'm from Detroit. I'm Detroit everything, but I'm I I I go for Detroit for everything. Like when they say Detroit versus everybody, that really is Detroit versus everybody. So it's Eminem, 8 Mile, it's Joe Lewis, it's Chris Webber, it's Jalen Rose. Like it's all Detroit. I'm more so for the individuals than the teams. When our teams are doing great, then yeah, I'll root for them. But unless you are a Lions fan, you have no reason to judge, because if I was a diehard Detroit Lions fan, all this shit would be great right now. I can't be.
I get it. No, we
Facts.
get it. We get it. We get it. All right, y'all. So we're gonna break it in, man. We're gonna start off our first segment of the show, just breaking down thoughts and opinions about the NBA bubble. Where your feelings, your takeaways, and we'll go from there. Each person, each of you guys, each of you four guys, you get about 3 to 4 minutes just to kind of speak your piece. We'll try to keep right under that 20-minute mark. So at that point, that'll give us about 5 minutes if you guys want to come together and chop up something, or if someone says something that stood out to you. So we'll go from there. All right, who's up first? Who wants to
I
talk
can go
about your
first.
thoughts?
I go
Go right
first.
ahead. I'm going to start
First
the
of
time
all,
right
man,
now.
I was so excited to see Kawhi Leonard versus LeBron James. You know how excited I was to see this? This is why all my new trash cans at the house are named Doc Rivers. All my new trash cans at the house is Doc Rivers, because that's who he is. He's trash. He's garbage. You go up 3-1 against a team that's a bunch of youngins. We want to see the Clippers and the Lakers, bro. And the fact that all these dudes go on ESPN and go on these big platforms and keep saying that he's a great coach. How? What has he ever done? That is my biggest takeaway from this. Is I hope that finally has been proven that this motherfucker needs to be fired. He needs to be gone. I'd rather have Nate McMillan there I'd rather have a lot of people there that actually have proven stuff with less talent.
Yeah.
This dude has done nothing to the point that I hated Chris Paul for 10 years. Better part of 10 years, I hated Chris Paul because I thought it was Chris Paul's fault until he left. And I was like, holy shit, this is really Doc Rivers' fault.
Yeah.
And it really like blew my mind as a basketball fan, as a point guard myself, that I was on Chris Paul's head when I should have been on Doc Rivers the whole time. And that is why every new trash can at my house is labeled Doc Rivers. Trash. Hot garbage. That's my take.
All right. Amar, how you feel? How you feel about the NBA bubble so far?
The guy that is standing out to me is Jimmy Butler. And I think it's kind of it's interesting because you look at his career and, you know, he's decorated. He's like a 5-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, like four-time All-Defensive. He's got an Olympic gold medal. He's got these accolades, but he's still kind of underrated. He's not talked about as much as somebody who's done all that he's done. And typically somebody with that resume, you'd be like, okay, well, you know, he plays in a small market. But you look at Jimmy Butler, he's played for Chicago, he's played for Philly, now he's with Miami. He's played in big markets. You know, he's played for teams that are on national TV a lot. But for some reason, he still doesn't get the attention. And I think why that's been is that he hasn't had that career-defining playoff run, and he's having it right now. So, you know, I think that's really cool for him. He's gonna, I don't know if he will be considered a superstar after this, but I think he's gonna get a lot more recognition, you know, that he's deserved for a while. Even if Miami, I mean, it looks like they're probably going to win the Eastern Conference Finals, even if they don't win the championship. I feel like, you know, he's got them there. He's going to have a lot of eyeballs on him in the finals.
Mark, can you repeat that meme that you retweeted earlier or reposted earlier, the meme you did about Jimmy Butler? Do you have that in front of you? The one where it showed like the last time the Bulls made it, the last time Philly made it. I think you posted it.
Oh, yeah.
I posted that.
No, that was me. I know you're talking about. Yeah,
that was you. You posted it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was just to go piggyback off of him real quick about this. This is what it said right here. The Bulls last made the playoffs in 2017 with Jimmy Butler. The T-Wolves last made the playoffs in 2018 with Jimmy Butler. The 76ers' best playoff run of the decade came in 2019 with Jimmy Butler. Miami is in the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2014. With Jimmy Butler, and I read that and I was like, "Holy shit! This guy doesn't get the praise that he
doesn't." Jimmy Butler has been vastly underrated, and honestly, as crazy as this might sound, just because he doesn't have maybe near the accolades or maybe near the eyeball test, whatever it is you want to call it, but I think he should rank right up there with Kawhi Leonard in terms of best two-way player in the league. I mean, the guy he plays both sides of the ball at an incredibly high efficient level. And if nothing else, where Jimmy Butler might not have all of the talent that Kawhi Leonard has, he has far more heart. And you can't take that away from a guy. You can't teach that to a guy. His work ethic, his heart. I mean, the dude puts, no matter what team he's on, and he may butt heads with some guys here and there, you know, and not everybody likes him. Not everybody likes Steve Smith. Not everybody likes Chris Paul, you know, those kind of things. Because they push their guys. They push them and they hold them accountable. Kobe was the same way. Get the fuck off my court. You know what I mean? If you're not going to be there to give it 110%, fuck you. Get off my court. I don't want you here because I'm here to win championships.
You're right. So, Amar, I know that was a little bit to your 3 minutes. Did you have anything else you wanted to say on Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, just I think if he gets Miami to the finals, if they close out this Eastern Conference Finals series, that's a feather in his cap, and it's gonna, I think, push him to another level of recognition.
Is he a first ballot Hall of Famer then?
First ballot.
Well, Kawhi would be today, I believe so.
I'd say. I don't know. I don't think. To me, so first ballot, I think depends on who else is eligible at the time that you become eligible, right? Because there's people that, you know, it could be kind of a weak.
We all know Yao Ming was not no first ballot.
Like a quote unquote, weak Hall of Fame class or a really strong class, you know, because I mean they only put in so many people each year. So like
3, right? You know, isn't it 3, Amar?
What if he wins the title? What if he wins the title?
Huh?
If he wins the title and gets the Finals MVP, is he a first ballot Hall of Famer?
All he got to do is get to the finals.
Possibly. Again, I think it just depends on
On his
who's,
class,
who's
on his
up
class,
for
yeah.
who's up for eligibility.
That's
with
fair.
him,
That's
you know.
fair.
That's
Just testing you. Just
What's
testing
your
you.
what's your feels, Dre? What's your thoughts on the bubble so far? What's going down? What's going on? What's happening? We can't hear you. We can't hear you, Pop.
Hey, your
Can't hear
sound's
you.
off again, bro.
So y'all looking at all your positives. I'm looking at the glass half empty mainly when it comes to the teams, and looking at the exit of the Rockets and those expectations that they had when you looking at Westbrook and Harden, and Westbrook in particular. He's already proven that you cannot be successful with pairing him with anybody.
Yeah.
He was not successful with Paul George. He was not successful with Carmelo Anthony and Paul George. He was not successful with Kevin Durant. He's the reason KD left.
They got to the finals.
They say that Westbrook is not the reason. Westbrook was the reason KD left, because KD left one superstar point guard to go join another superstar point guard just to win. And he shouldn't have had to do that. Then, now he's proven it with Harden. You with the league MVP now. You were with him when he was sixth man coming off the bench, but now he's the scoring leader.
He's a grown man now.
First ballot Hall of Famer.
And league MVP, and you still wet the bed in the playoffs. There's no more excuses. You're way past beyond excuses.
Right.
So what we see is what we get from Harden and Westbrook, because that's years after years of failure after failure after failure that I don't know if I've never seen this before, where a coach actually said, I don't even want to coach you anymore. I believe
there's been an evolution in the game of basketball in the midst of Westbrook that we haven't noticed. I believe that there was a part of the beginning of Westbrook's career you did go to the hoop more, and it was the 3-pointers weren't as important as they are today. And I believe in that part of that era of his beginning of his career, he exceeded. And I believe he exceeded all the way through with Durant because he was good at going to the hoop. I believe that the NBA just evolved to a point of you need to be able to shoot the three, and he's not that guy. I mean, if you rewind the league back to when Westbrook started, when they went to the finals with OKC, he didn't need to shoot the three. He was a phenomenal player. He won an MVP without being able to shoot the three just a few years ago. But the NBA evolved to a point where you need to be able to shoot the three-point basketball, especially in the D'Antoni system. In a D'Antoni system. Now, if you played for Philadelphia, if you played for Indiana, if you played for Miami, if you played for a team that can get to the paint sometimes, he'd be a different player. I believe that he got stuck inside a system, D'Antoni three-point system, in an era where three-pointers matter, where he could not evolve and he could not become a better player than he is today. And I believe that ruined him. I believe that's what hurt him.
This has only been 1 year with D'Antoni. Westbrook was a first-round exit every year. He
got to the finals when his second year, third year when he was OKC.
Years ago.
Years ago.
KD.
I get it, but I'm saying is the NBA evolved and it passed Westbrook. Westbrook's the athletic point guard, the era of the athletic point guard, the Gilbert Arenas, that era's over. You know, you need a guy that can shoot the three, that can shoot the three. You need that guy. You need a Steph Curry now. The triple-double doesn't matter no more if you can't shoot the three, and we've seen it. You know, Rondo.
What do you think, Austin?
I disagree with everything the Vadi's saying, to be perfectly honest.
That's fine. That's fine. You can
just but here's why. Hear me out. Here's why I disagree. The biggest reason being is that there's a lot of successful players out there that you wouldn't necessarily consider 3-point shooters. And granted, Westbrook is exceptionally bad at it, right? Like it's definitely 100% the weakest.
He's great in the regular season, like the Greek Freak. Game. Hold up. Let me add it real quick. Just like the Greek Freak, it's a regular season talent where you can go to the hoop, you can score. Westbrook was phenomenal this year in the regular season. He struggled in the playoffs when you prepare for him. Just like the Greek Freak, who's phenomenal in the regular season, but once you prepare for the guy that can't shoot the three, you can prepare for him better, and then he can't show up in the playoffs. It's the same player.
I can agree with that to an extent, but here's the biggest reason why I disagree with all that. The fact of the matter is, and what it just, honestly 100% boils down to, as someone who watched them purely out of spite after the Supersonics got stolen, Dre's right. Westbrook just ain't that guy. He's a selfish player. And we watched it, and trust me, I remember the day screaming at my TV for a team that I absolutely despise just out of my mind why Westbrook is driving to the hoop with a paint full of 3 guys whilst Kevin Durant's standing out on the 3-point line wide
Stay
open.
doing that.
I
You
remember
always
it.
did
I
that.
remember it. I
And,
remember.
and
Always
he
did
did, and that's the thing is you're right. It's a regular season talent. You know why? Because Harden's at a point in his career where he doesn't give a shit about the regular season. He just doesn't care.
Well, I agree with you there. I agree with you
Right.
there.
So let Westbrook take the lead, let him play that selfish ball. But we watched it happen in the finals. We watched it. Granted, KD definitely takes some blame, but we watched it happen when they blew that 3-1 lead to the Warriors the season that they blew the 3-1 lead. And then we watched it happen here in Houston, where in these big moments, he wants so badly to be that guy. He's like that. He's like that kid that's a bully to everybody in class. And then he just hates the fact that like everybody calls him a bully. So he just acts like more of a bully. You know what I mean? He just
Well, that's the
plays
thing. It's
into
easier to prepare for those guys. What I'm saying is in the playoffs, when you can come in and prepare for a team, just like the Greek Freak, Westbrook, they're the same kind of guy. They're different positions.
You cannot put them in the same category.
No, not the same category. I'm saying that they're guys that need to get to the hoop. They're good rebounders.
similar
good pass-
style. Yeah.
Similar styles. They can't shoot the ball outside. They're easier to prepare for
here
in the
comes the
playoffs.
Here comes the separation, Vlad. It's IQ. Westbrook has always had an extremely low IQ.
Oh yeah.
I agree. I don't disagree
You
with
cannot
you.
make an excuse for it. There's just
I
no
can't.
excuse
I don't
for
disagree
his
with you.
IQ being the way it is, and the reason why I say that is because during the regular season this year, what the difference was between Westbrook this season and previous season, he stopped shooting threes. So
100%.
some coach went to him and said, Westbrook,
Stop it.
you are historically the worst three-point shooter in history.
Yeah.
You are great when you're attacking the basket and when you're kicking the ball out in the
100%.
flow of the offense. And you know what he went away from when he got to those playoffs? He went away from exactly
He didn't go away
that
from it. The
when
defense
low
is
IQ kicked in.
No, he didn't go away from it. The defense is prepared for him, and they gave him space. During the regular season, they'd play him one-on-one because there's no preparing for the team. You have 81 games. You just go in, you go out. In the playoffs, they said, listen, we're going to let you shoot. He fell for it. He fell for that. They baited him and saying, we're going to give you 10 feet. Take the shot. It was but it wasn't that he stopped.
The
That he stopped going to the
all-time
hoop.
great point guard's IQ is up here.
Well,
Westbrook,
name me an all-time great point guard that
IQ is
couldn't
down
shoot.
here.
Name me an all-time great point guard that couldn't shoot besides Magic Johnson, but that's a different era. In this era, you need a jump shot to be a good point guard. You have to have a jump shot. And somehow, somewhere along the road, he lost it.
All
That's
right.
my-
Ron Rondo.
All right. So before we move on to our next segment, Austin, I want to get your thoughts on the NBA bubble so far. What's going on? Your first impressions of everything.
Honestly, the biggest thing that I'm taking away from here is that for whatever reason, far too long, the NBA as a whole, the fans as a whole, continue to dismiss the Miami Heat. And this is a team that competes year in, year out. That no matter the personnel, no matter whatever, Pat Riley consistently keeps them in the playoffs. He's won rings with them. They're about to go back to another finals. I mean, all of these things, and so, but yet somehow they continue to go they just fly under the radar. You don't hear anything about them. When Jimmy Butler went there, they're like, yeah, Jimmy Butler went to the Heat. And anyways, yeah, so. But LeBron James just wiped his sweat off with a towel. So let's talk about that. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where it just blows me away. And I love seeing it. I think the Heat Lakers matchup will be the most exciting out of all of them.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited. Tyler Hero is amazing. He's becoming probably one of my new favorite players. The dude just not afraid to shoot. He's setting records. He's about to break the record for most double-digit points or most
10
most
points
hitting,
plus.
Right, most
Dwayne
times
Wade.
double
First
digits.
guy since Dwayne Wade.
Right, you know what I mean? And so they're doing a lot of amazing things. And what's crazy is this team is incredibly young. You know what I mean?
Scary
young.
Guys like
Very
Hero,
young.
like Robinson, all those guys are very
And they have
young.
cap space.
None
They can bring another talent.
None was second in MVP, or I'm sorry, Rookie of the Year voting this year. I mean, all of these things. So they have just like this incredible core of players, and they're going to make it to the finals. My biggest thing, though, is kind of what we talked about earlier. What's it going to do for Jimmy Bucket's career? Or legacy? And if I were him, I'd stay kicking it down there in Miami. I would finish my career there if I could, to be perfectly honest.
South
think he
Beach,
might.
low
I think he
taxes.
might.
Yeah, be that
Why
guy
not?
that
Now,
is
there's
the toast of the town, and you've got this incredible young team around you.
No state
Yeah,
taxes
I mean,
in
all of
Florida.
it. Yeah, makes
You
all
got
the
a
sense in
beach.
the
You got
world.
beautiful women.
What was that,
Yeah.
Amar? What'd you say,
Done.
Amar?
I was saying if you are a LeBron James hater, and we know they're out there,
I'm right here, right here.
then
Both
you
hands.
want, because during the season I heard a lot of people saying that what team in the East can knock off the Lakers, and the Celtics was brought up. I think if you hate LeBron, then you want Miami to win, and you want Miami to get into the finals, because you think about it, Pat Riley knows LeBron very well, including his weaknesses. Eric Spoelstra knows LeBron very well, including his weaknesses. Jimmy Butler's got it. He's gone up against LeBron in the playoffs multiple times when he was in Chicago, knows LeBron really well. He's one of those guys that's not going to be intimidated by LeBron.
Who doesn't want to
and
see
we'll go
that
right
matchup,
at him.
bro?
You got, you got a shot blocker, Bam Adebayo, you got shooters, you got youth, you got athleticism. So
that's such a
Hey,
great
hey,
matchup.
as a certified LeBron hater, I'm certified. I'm certified first class LeBron hater. I still got to tell you, no matter what happens from now on until history, LeBron is top 5 of all time. No matter what happens. So we're over the point. I gave up. Like, I used to hate LeBron. Like, he's not going to be in the top 10, and he sneaks in the top 10. Like, God damn it. He's like, hey, he's not going to be here. But eventually, I'm a certified LeBron hater, and I got to say, like, there's nothing that can happen. If the Miami Heat beat this Lakers team, you're not going to blame it on LeBron. Even as a LeBron hater, I'm going to blame it on that bench.
Yeah.
he's going to get blamed.
On the
LeBron's still gonna get the
Yeah, he'll take it.
He's still going to get
blame
blamed.
it on
He's
LeBron.
going to get blamed.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be like,
pressure in this playoffs by far.
Without a
No,
doubt.
Kawhi Leonard did.
I thought Kawhi did.
He does.
I thought Kawhi did as well.
And it's by far.
I thought Kawhi had the most pressure.
Why do you say LeBron? Why do you say LeBron does?
Because LeBron is the face of the league. We're in all of the basketball
But he has nothing to
and
prove.
sports groups and NBA groups. We see the LeBron post constantly. Nobody gets more criticism no matter what.
You believe he had more pressure than Kawhi Leonard?
Just
This year,
listen,
yeah.
Just listen.
Hold on, Vlad. Hold on.
All right, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
LeBron can have he could, like, for example, the game he scored 16 points and AD scored 30 points. Oh, AD is carrying LeBron. So LeBron is at a point, no matter what success he has, it comes with criticism, whether he wins, whether he loses, whether he does great, or whether he doesn't do great. It goes beyond the criticism. Nobody has more pressure than LeBron. And then when you add to the fact that he's on his third franchise, the Lakers, then you add to the fact that Kobe died this year for the Lakers, and the LA is itching for a championship since they last won in 2010. Nobody is even close to LeBron and being pressured to win a championship. That's just fact.
I disagree in the fact that I believe that LeBron cemented his legacy to where even as a LeBron hater, I cannot say he's not top 5. Like, I cannot say that. He is top 5, no matter what.
Top 5 isn't the goal for LeBron.
But
LeBron is GOAT status.
But I believe I believe Kawhi.
Nobody cares about top 5 for LeBron.
But I believe Kawhi went.
Are you the GOAT? Can you pass Jordan, or can't you pass Jordan?
I know, but I believe Kawhi went.
Nobody cares about top 5.
Kawhi was in talks of being. Yeah, no, but Kawhi went in the talks of being top 10. He was in talks. All of the season, if he wins another title, he gets to be top 10. To now, we can't even talk about him being top 20. We can't talk about him top 30.
Yeah, but Kawhi's got an entire career left.
Yeah,
Kawhi's got a whole
fine.
career.
Kawhi's going to win another 2 or 3 trips.
Yeah, we're
With
talking
what?
about
With his injuries. He's always hurt.
But we're talking
Can he
about
last on 5 years? Can he last on 6 years?
we're
Let's be
talking
real.
about a player in LeBron James who has all of the same expectations. He has all of the same things in front of him, including being the only player in NBA history to win 3 finals MVPs on 3 different teams. I mean, all of these very, very similar things, going to LA, going to this big market, going from the East to the West, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I agree with Dre. I think that you LeBron has to win this title. He has to, because you know what? If he doesn't win this title, he will be buried absolutely buried
Murdered.
by it, right?
Especially
However,
with the Clippers
Murdered
out the
by
way.
Stop it.
everybody.
Yep,
It
and
won't
here's the
even be
thing: if
close.
He wasn't
if-
favored to win. It was the Clippers that were favored to win.
but if
And
he
so now that
does,
they're out the
matter
way-
who was the favorites. It matters the name,
Right.
and that LeBron James name carries everything.
but
Like,
if he
has
does
the world
win,
on his shoulders.
if he does
Not
win,
only does
I
LeBron
hope he
have to
doesn't.
win, but he has to make sure that he plays outplays Anthony Davis so he can win a Finals MVP award. That's the
Well,
pressure that LeBron.
and not
for
only
sure. I
that,
agree with you
but
there.
if he does win, the best that LeBron can hope for is to have this constant hanging asterisk, whatever you want to call it, that he only won because it was a
Asterisk.
pandemic and it was a
Asterisk.
bubble and
Auschwitz.
and it's ostrich. Anyways, but yeah, that's gonna be it. And you know that's what the talk's gonna be. Granted, yes, it will always count towards his his championships, and we all will still herald him as a top 5 and potentially chasing that ghost that is Michael Jordan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the reality is that the constant talk amongst fans and especially LeBron haters is going to be that he didn't play a full season. He had all that rest. They went into the bubble, blah, 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 blah. So when that is the peak of winning a championship, but if you don't, you know damn well you're going to get buried. Yeah, LeBron absolutely has
And
the
we-
most on
we
his
haven't even
shoulder.
brought up those two special words that's always going to be said. You know, all we do is hear 3 and 6 now. That 3 and 6 will turn to 3 and 7.
Oh, yeah.
That's not a good look.
Oh,
at
yeah.
all.
Think about it like this. Look at Peyton Manning's career. We're talking about a guy who
My favorite quarterback when he was alive, when he was
right.
playing.
And I know, and I'm not trying to get into the NFL because I know we're going to move into that next. But like, we're talking about a guy who arguably is the greatest quarterback to ever. But like, I'm just talking in terms of pure talent, decision-making ability. I mean, the guy had all of it, like every bit of everything you could want for out of a QB like that. And then what? Like, nobody really even puts him in that conversation anymore unless they're a homer. Why? Because he also has more playoff losses than anybody else. He only has 2 Super Bowls out of, you got Tom Brady who's got 6. And granted, 2 Super Bowls is great, but Big Ben has 2 Super Bowls.
That's a great argument because when they were playing together, it was a Peyton
so-
versus Tom argument.
Right. So again, my point is not to get into the NFL because we're going to do that later. But my point is that it like LeBron
Good
James
segue.
can go dangerously close to falling into that category if he does not win this title. He
That's
has
true.
to.
The thing
true.
is, so LeBron's legacy is cemented in the sense that the people who don't like him, the haters, they're not going to change their mind, no matter what he does the rest of his career. The people that do like him, he could lose he could finish 3 and 9, and they're still gonna, think they're still gonna like him. They're still gonna think he's, top 5 or top 2 or whatever,
Right.
number 1 or whatever they think he is. The people who don't like him, even if they win this year, they will put an asterisk on his title, just like
That's how
they
you
put
say it.
one on the previous 3. The first one, it was a lockout. It was a lockout season. The
Right.
second one, Ray Allen saved them. The third one,
Yep.
Draymond Green got suspended.
Kyrie
Irving
saved him.
And all,
Which
so
is
I'm saying,
crazy
they'll
because
find
it's
an
not like they
asterisk to
didn't have a
put
whole
on-
game 7.
And this year is, if they win, it's going to be, there was a pandemic and this in the bubble and
Yeah,
all that. They were already using that excuse for why the Clippers lost. They were rusty, they weren't ready, they were out of shape because of the bubble. So it'll be turned around and used against LeBron if they win.
As if Kawhi Leonard hasn't made a career off of resting. So you'd think if anybody would have benefited from that rest.
That should have been normal for him, right?
Yeah, exactly. It would have been
Another day at the office. Another day at the office. That's what that was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So before we move on to the NFL segment, I did want to ask y'all, since y'all brought it up about LeBron, has any player in the history of the NBA been under as much pressure throughout their entire career as LeBron? Even Jordan,
No.
going back
Not
to
even
Jordan in his
close.
prime.
No.
Not even
No.
close.
From the day he left Irish, from the day he left his high school. I remember being that kid when I was looking at him, the Sports Illustrated magazine. He was 18 years old. And I remember like this dude, who's this guy? And watching him go through, he's had pressure. And the only reason I don't like LeBron is the way he left Cleveland the first time. But it does not make, but I'm honest to say he's a great fucking athlete and a great player. But the pressure that he had from his high school days. I mean, I'm not even talking about the league, bro. You're talking about a high school, he had pressure. He had to win a national title. It was going to be a bust. He was going to be a bust if you didn't win a national title as a high school player. Like that, the pressure to have when you're in 12th grade, 11th grade, you have pressure. You have to win Rookie of the Year. He gets it. You have to be an All-Star, perennial. He gets it. You have to win a title. He gets it. I mean, as much as I hate LeBron, he's been through pressure since 17 years old.
Compare him. Go ahead, Austin.
The only player that will ever face as much, if not more, scrutiny once they actually do hit the NBA will be Bronny James.
Yeah.
Well, Zion.
You know,
Zion's a guy that's close, maybe.
Yeah, close.
I'm not. Yeah,
But
I'm
here's
not
the
sold
thing.
on him at all. I'm not sold on him at all.
Nobody came in. Zion. Nobody had the expectations of Zion coming in being a LeBron. There was a few.
Nobody.
Placed out.
I had John Moran winning Rookie of the Year from day one.
But you're right. The minute that LeBron James entered the NBA as an 18-year-old kid, a child,
He had expectations.
The minute he does that, he's all of a sudden the minute he's drafted. Okay, is this guy going to be Michael Jordan? Is this guy going to be a dude who had a 14-year career or whatever and won all these championships and won all the blah, 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 blah? Is this 18-year-old kid? Is that who
he was Kobe's rival by year 3?
Right.
I mean,
So
that's insane.
It's
insane
nuts to put that on somebody. And then the fact that he persevered through it, like that blows my mind.
Respect.
Look at all these guys who don't even have near as much, like near the close expectations.
Right.
These other first round overall picks or whatever the case that have just Deion Waiters and what the last 10 Cleveland Cavalier #1 picks or whatever.
Don't talk about Bennett. Don't talk about Bennett.
What are you gonna say, Dre? What are you gonna
They've
say,
all
Dre?
folded.
So I'm going to talk about what never talked about as far as pressure for LeBron is we've never seen pressure like LeBron James' first game back to Cleveland when he went to Miami and the way he had to dominate that game with fans going like, have we ever seen that before? And somebody rose to the occasion. Like, I'm talking about one game pressure. Like, that's just, I've never seen that before. And the second game is, and you probably could put it first, is against the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. You know that mean LeBron look.
Game 6.
Where's Paul Pierce?
You just couldn't do shit with him.
Yeah.
And he just dominated that 40-something point per game performance. And
the one thing I'll throw at LeBron is this: that he reminds me of Tom Brady in one way. That Tom Brady went through a weak ass AFC and LeBron went through a weak ass Eastern Conference Finals for the better part of their careers. LeBron's East sucked. Tom Brady's AFC sucked for majority of their career compared to the other league, compared to the Western Conference, compared to the NFC. In my opinion, that's the fact.
What do you disagree on, Dre? What do you disagree on?
Because if we say that the East was weak, then we're bypassing what they did in Boston. They teamed up 3 Hall of Famers
for 2 years.
Essentially, Rondo, a 4th Hall of Famer. That's
okay.
That's,
for 2 years.
KG,
that's tough.
That's
tough.
KG,
For 2
Ray
years.
Allen, and Paul Pierce. We're bypassing those Pistons that went to 6 straight Eastern Conference Finals.
Indiana Pacers.
Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups, and Tayshaun Prince. That was not no easy feat.
Not easy. But I'm saying put it on a Libra scale. Put it on a Libra scale. Put it on a Libra scale and say
Libra
the Western
scale
Conference
or not. It's always
which
easy
one is heavier, dog?
When you're
Western Conference
when you're on the
tough.
outside looking in, it's always it looks easy.
I'm asking you to
Because
be
it
honest
makes
with
it
me.
look easy.
You know basketball. Be honest with me. In that era, what was better, the West or the East? Let's be honest right now.
The West can be stronger.
Of course, that's what I'm
But
saying.
this is the thing.
What's that, Amar?
But the West, okay, the East, if it's weaker than the West, it doesn't mean it's overall weak though.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying it was the easier route. Just like Tom Brady, the AFC wasn't weak.
Yeah.
You still have the
Yeah,
Steelers.
but you just
Right,
trying
but
to
that's
make it
fair.
look like it was extremely weak.
Right, but
No,
that's
no,
like
I didn't mean that. I didn't mean to sound like that. I did not mean to sound like that.
that's like saying,
the
well,
Indiana
the
Pacers.
guy walked on coals and he didn't walk on the broken shards of glass. So
I didn't mean to sound like that. I just meant I'm saying is I don't mean that. I didn't mean it like that. What I mean is I believe him and Tom Brady both had the easier route, and they're both goats in their own sense, not the greatest and LeBron top 5.
Yeah, I
They
don't give a
went the
shit.
easiest route. That easier route.
I'll say
Well, I'm saying.
about the pressure though. I think there's players who have faced as much pressure as LeBron has faced.
Oh,
It just
wow.
hasn't been for but it hasn't been for as long.
As long.
I'd say Kobe, after Shaq left, he faced a lot of
Okay.
pressure to win.
Yeah.
After he won, it was over. Jordan, before he won his first title, faced a lot of pressure to win. People said he couldn't win the big one. He was a ball hog, all
Good
that.
point.
After
Good
he
point.
won his first one, it was over. Like, there was a point when I remember Kevin Garnett was under a lot of pressure because he had won an MVP. He had done all this, but he was kind of known as like a choker. He had a lot of pressure to win. When he got to Boston, he won one. It was over. The difference with LeBron is like
Every
it's
year.
been like this his whole career,
Right.
and nothing he does is
Since
good enough. for
junior
some
year in
people.
high school. Since junior year
Right.
in high
And
school.
so he's won 3 titles. He bounced back from, the low point of his career being the 2011 finals. He bounced back and won 3 after that, and it's still not good enough. People still bring it up. You compare that to Dirk Nowitzki. He choked in 2007 in the first round.
Did
And then
he?
he had that 2006
Did
finals
he?
loss. After he won in 2011, that was all forgotten and forgiven. And it was like, okay, Dirk's clutch now.
He had the
LeBron's
worst team. He didn't have the better team in that.
No, what I'm saying is, I'm saying it took Dirk 1 title to erase all
Yeah,
that.
you make a good
negative
point. That's a good point.
and
That's a good
and
point.
like, oh, he's certified clutch.
Whoa,
LeBron
whoa.
bounced back from a terrible performance, won 3 titles, 3 Finals MVPs, and there's still people saying he's not clutch. And
Went
they'll
to
point
8
to
straight
2011.
finals.
Yeah, we're
Well,
expecting
and
LeBron to
they'll
win
point
in
to
year
tw-
18
and they'll
Dirk-
point to
and 20.
2011 as if he hasn't improved like since then.
No. When Dirk lost the first time, he had 2 Hall of Famers in the team. You had Dwayne Wade, you had Shaq. Right? Shaq was not
Mhm.
at the peak of his career, but he was still a good player at that point. That was the last of his good years. Dirk lost, sure, but Dirk didn't have a good team. The second time that Dirk won a title, he beat Bosh, Wade, LeBron. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. Shut the fuck up. Dirk came in and took your title. So that's the difference. Like Dirk, I believe Dirk was a horrible defensive player, but he had that offensive, he had that killer instinct that I believe that's one of the greatest runs by a player in NBA history. That run when he beat team after team, he beat the OKC team that year, correct? He beat the Spurs that year, correct? He beat the Lakers.
And they beat the Lakers. Yeah.
He beat the Lakers that year, correct? And then he goes beats Miami, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, he took like 8 Hall of Famers, 8 first ballot Hall of Famers. Dirk said, you gone. He knocked them off one by one. He came in and that to me is the greatest single-handed run in NBA history for a playoff run and a championship ring. That Dirk run in that playoff.
Right.
Phenomenal.
And that's all it took to erase any of the negative stuff about Dirk.
It's the greatest
That's
one of all
what I'm
time.
And then if you look, and then
because
after
before
that
that,
title,
he was deemed as soft.
Yeah.
and then after that title, Dirk never got out of the first round again.
Nope.
He
But
didn't need
that's
to.
not that wasn't held
all it
against him.
took.
But
And that's
here's
more-
the,
That's what I'm
here's
saying.
the,
All it
That's
took
his
was one.
point. Yeah.
here's the
yeah,
key
that's a
difference.
good point.
though.
That's a good point.
Here's the key difference is that nobody in their right mind would ever consider Dirk to even be in the conversation for greatest of all time.
No,
And
of
so
course.
that's where at a certain
Top
point-
20 though?
Yeah, 25. But that's
Yeah,
where
top
like
25.
as a fan base, as fans, as intelligent, like whatever you want to call it, sports journalists, obviously in Amar's case, super fans like in Dre's, Mines, Vladi, whatever. You know what I mean? Like we have to understand that we are grading on a curve. And the reality is that it's easy to talk all that crap on LeBron, right? But then you also have to remind yourself that, well, I'm talking crap on him, or I may be saying these things because I understand that he will never be better than Michael Jordan, which I wholeheartedly believe, which a lot of people will believe. But the fact of the matter is he's still in the conversation. He
For sure.
absolutely is still in the, like, it's one of those things where like I truly believe that Jordan is the GOAT. And I do believe there's a bit of a gap, but to act as if like nobody, like not even close, nobody else could ever be considered to be the greatest of all time because of how great, like people who have that mindset blow me away. Absolutely. Like it blows my mind because you can't sit there and tell me that there are other people with resumes that are comparable or good enough. And LeBron is one of those people.
I think when it comes to Jordan is the fact that he wouldn't have played baseball. He could have won 8 straight titles. We can all agree that there was a good chance that he could have won 8
But
straight
he also
titles.
could have
I
lost
disagree
2.
with
He
that.
could have
That's
lost
another
2.
conversation, but I disagree with
Yeah,
that.
that's not. I think
I don't
we.
think they wouldn't have won 8.
Let's
Yeah.
keep it today's era, though.
I'm saying he had a
Yeah.
chance. He had a chance.
That's
I think
not-
I think that's where it starts.
That's a good topic. We should keep it.
Yeah, we'll keep
play.
it. We'll
But let's move on to our next segment, fellas. We're gonna talk about the
Let's
first
do it.
2 weeks of the NFL. Thoughts of the big week coming up. I know my boys up there in Seattle this week. Yeah, it's a big week. It's a big. You got Dak Prescott.
Hawks.
He still has a lot to prove, even through all the stats and everything he's done. I don't know if it's because he plays for the Cowboys or what, but the dude, if he was anywhere else, he would have been paid by now. I mean, the guy puts up big numbers, and
Not no $40 million. He wouldn't have been paid by
Stop it.
now.
he's asking for more because of the team he plays for. You got to understand.
He plays on the most popular team in American
in the world. No, in the world. This is the most
Right.
French.
That's
You
why
can
he's
make.
asking for
You
more.
can make. Hey,
That's
but
why
this
he's
is the
asking
thing.
for more. It's a business move. He's asking for.
But you
it
still have a
makes sense.
cap space. It doesn't matter.
Oh,
if
You
the,
man.
can make money off revenue. You can make money off commercials, off advertisements.
right. The
Playing for the
team could
Cowboys.
be worth $1
You
trillion.
can make $30 million a year for the Cowboys and make $20 million a year from outside of football. Well, I think where he's missing. You got to be grateful. This is where I got to talk about Dak real quick. I don't know, but Mahomes and Dak, these guys, like Mahomes took a small contract. You guys might think it's crazy, but if you look at the first 5 years of his contract, he's not really making that much. He's only guaranteed $170 million from his 500. So he's really not getting $500 million. No, I only. But
I know.
what I'm saying is, there you have to be able to understand. Do I want to go and make $40 million a year and have no offensive line? Dak has an offensive line. He has great receivers, a good tight end. He has a great system. Take $5 million less for long term, but make your money off advertisements, off ads, off all your other shit. Your revenue stream is unlimited in Dallas. You're the America's team.
That's exactly my point too, because again, it doesn't matter what the value of the team is. It doesn't matter how much money is in Jerry Jones' checking account. None of that matters. And the biggest reason why is because we're in a salary cap era. So the fact of the matter is that people, and I know players too, because I know I've known or have had some form of a relationship with a few ex-NFL players. They have that same mindset where it's the money, you know what I mean? But what you tend to forget is what percentage of that cap space are you eating up, and where does that leave the rest of your team? And don't get me wrong, I'm for the players. I'm pro player. I think these players should be getting their money well as they can, as much of it as possible, as especially in football. Tomorrow is not promised, and these teams will drop you like a bad habit the minute that they don't feel like you're going to be who they think you are. But if you take a $30 million deal, or what was it, 35 that Dallas last offered, you also get to stay in a market that's the most valuable market in all of sports. Your advertising ability or your advertisements, your sponsorships, your absolute everything is tenfold there compared to what? Where's his other option? Was he going to go to
let me
Tampa
say
Bay?
this also. Let me say this also. As a guy, I invest money for a living in different areas. But what I say is I truly believe there's a bubble growing in the quarterback position. I firmly, like from an investment side, if football was an investment for me and I would look, where do I want to invest my money? The last position I'd put my stock in would be the quarterback position, because I believe the bubble is growing there to where at some point you're not going to pay him $70 million. You're not going to take half your cap space, but the quarterback position keeps growing. The place I would invest my money in would be somewhere on the defensive side of the ball, maybe on the offensive line. Well, I would not put my money in the quarterback position right now if I was an investor saying, is this thing that's going to bring me the most money back?
Well, that bubble's going to pop next
That
year.
bubble's
When
gonna
the cap
pop.
space
Well,
drops.
maybe that's what Jerry Jones is thinking, because
Exactly.
I bring it back because I bring it back to the stats. Yeah, I look at the quarterback, Deshaun Watson. You look at some of these guys, you put their numbers against Dak. I'm not talking about team success, but I'm talking about you put the dude. He's right up there with all of them.
I agree with
most comebacks last couple of years, most yards in the second half last couple of years. I mean, the kid is resilient. I mean, the kid's tough. He's only missed like one game his entire career.
Great
he came
player.
out of nowhere behind Tony Romo, who, we thought was the future, was going to be around a little bit longer. I'll put it like this. The money Dak's been waiting on, I believe if that was Tony Romo with the same performance Dak has had the last 4 years, Jerry would have paid him already.
I believe Jerry Jones sees the same thing I'm seeing, as there's a bubble.
And you might be right.
And I believe Jerry Jones is saying, look, Am I going to give $40 million to this guy, or am I going to say, fuck you, go away? I'm going to bring in a different quarterback for $5 million, but build up my offensive line, build up my receivers, and let's see if I can win football a different way. Because how much can we pay this quarterback? In 5 years, are we going to pay $60 million a year? $80 million a year? Where are we going to stop? Because we've been growing this one position has been growing exponentially in the last 6 years more than anything else. That and the pass rushers. Those are the two positions that have been growing ridiculously. Running backs can't get $1 million. At some point, we got to realize there's a bubble growing in this position. And look at the Patriots. They just got Cam Newton for $1 million. And at some point, Jerry Jones might look thinking like an investor who's the guy who's made this money investing. He's like, look, am I going to pay 40? I'm going to say, bye-bye, Dak. I'm going to find something for 10, but I'm going to use this $30 million to feed the rest of my positions up.
You're right. That's where you have to, again, you have to grade on a curve. And the biggest reason being is because, and as much as I hate saying this, because this is something that Russell Wilson dealt with a lot early in his career. Look at the situation that Dak stepped into, man. I mean, he stepped onto a team with a running back who, though hadn't touched the field yet, anybody could have told you was going to end up being a superstar running back. Not only that, but at the time, the Cowboys didn't just have the best offensive line in the league.
Ever.
Like, they had clearly a historical offensive line. Like, incredibly
historical.
You know, and then you add some of those other pieces. Their defense actually was pretty decent at the time. And so I guess it's just, again, it's one of those, maybe Jerry is talking a bit on the investment side, because you're right.
Is Dak worth $40 million? Yes.
Right.
Is he worth that to Jerry Jones? No.
That's where it goes down to. That's the disconnect.
Dak stacks up.
What I will say is Jerry didn't get as rich as he was just giving away money.
Wow.
He's by far one of the cheapest owners, because we look at Dez Bryant and how he wanted a contract, didn't get paid. We look at some of those other players that played for the Cowboys, and Jerry didn't budge. And Dez Bryant was one of his top receivers. Pertaining to Dak Prescott and the players getting paid, you cannot just be like, okay, I'm going to take $5 million less. Because owners will use that against future players.
For sure.
And when it comes to the boardroom to negotiate, and then they can't get their money because they're like, look, we had Dak Prescott. He took $5 million. Who the fuck are you?
Leverage.
Brady, Timmy. Yep, they always do.
So you can never look at the players to sacrifice what they make for the sake of the team, because they are the sake of the team, and they have to set the standard the same way.
It's a family.
With Chris Paul being the NBA Players President Association, those top players have to get their money and then let the chips fall where they're made.
I never want to dog a player, because this is generational money we're talking about. This is like your grandkids going to be taken care of. So I'm 100% for the player going after the money. Like what you said, is Dak that much worse than Deshaun Watson? No, I don't think so. But I believe that Jerry Jones is a business mind. He's looking at it from a different standpoint. Now, all the NFL owners are business minds. They're all billionaires, right? But I firmly believe that there's a bubble in the quarterback position. And I just want to challenge you guys. Like, if we're going to keep growing at this rate, by 2025, these guys will be making $70 million a year. I mean, at some point, we got to say there needs to be a cap. Where is the cap? What is the number that we're looking at? 70 million?
I feel like this. If the game is growing and the owners are making more money, why do the players' money need to be cut back?
Well,
that's what's being.
Well, they are. Look at the running backs. The running backs.
But their running backs, they're becoming obsolete, kind of like centers in the NBA.
Yeah.
But as far as it's just like the WNBA. Oh, they only get $30,000 a year.
That's what you deserve.
But the reason why is because they don't have the TV agreement. They don't have the sponsorships. They don't get $1 billion in sponsorship.
And we haven't even talked about the franchising tags of players as well.
Come on now.
Yeah, that's big.
That's big.
I'm hoping that I'm pro player.
Yes.
I don't want this bubble to pop or for there to be a cap. Main reason is because I got 2 twin boys, and if they're going to be quarterbacks to go to the NFL,
get your money, son. Get your money.
So I'm like, hey, make as much as you can make, and by the time my kids are old enough to get there, then yeah.
But I'm saying, think about it realistically. I'm not talking about the growth of the salary. I'm for that. I think players should be making more. But there's two positions right now that are growing exponentially, and that's the pass rusher and the quarterback. Those two positions have grown more in the last 5
Face of
years.
elite. Face of
than anything
elite.
else. Yeah,
Face of
those two
elite.
But
positions.
those
pass
are the
rushers-
two most important positions
Two
in
most.
the NFL right
Two
now.
most.
Sure,
They
I agree
are.
with you. But I'm saying at some point when you're focusing all your money on this side of the ball, at some point you got to think about this. What if I spread? And I think that's what Jerry Jones is doing. Let me spread the money everywhere else, and I can bring in a second-tier quarterback, but have the rest. Because this point you have $500 million to deal with. You want to?
And that's what it looks like he's trying to build.
And that's what
it
he's trying to
like.
build. He's trying to build everything else. I'm gonna bring a second-tier quarterback in. Not saying that Dak's not worth $40 million. Dak is gonna get $40 million.
He will.
He's gonna go somewhere else to get it.
He will.
He might leave the Cowboys, but he's gonna get $40 million. There's gonna be 10 teams begging him to sign a check. But what I'm saying is, I think that there's gonna be certain coaches are gonna say, look, or owners are gonna say, hey, I'm gonna bring a second-tier quarterback in, but I'm gonna build up my offensive line, build up my secondary. I'm gonna build this a different type of way and not build everything from the quarterback position. Because when you build it from the quarterback position, God forbid that quarterback tears ACL. Well, your eggs are in one basket. If you spread that money out across your secondary, across your offensive line, there's bigger chance you can succeed, in my opinion. I think we're gonna see in the next couple of years the NFL evolve in that direction.
I think as hard as it is
there's
to
a factor. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
Okay, I'll say as hard as it is to like pass up on a franchise level quarterback, I think Vladdy's right in the sense like if you build up that O line, you build up that secondary,
make a
you build
good
up that
point.
pass rush, you could win a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco.
You're right.
Like we saw both of
100%.
them.
We've seen it.
Oh, Peyton Manning's Denver year when he beat Cam
Right.
Newton.
Yeah, what'd you say,
Right.
Dre?
He was a shitty ass quarterback at that point of his career. Let's be honest.
I
What'd
was
you say,
saying
Dre?
that
Quarterback?
there's also a factor in which owners don't want to give players what they want because they're afraid of after they get what they want, then they don't have to work hard for it and they turn into Jamarcus Russell. You know
Sure.
what I'm saying? So
That's
after
always
you
a
get your
concern.
money,
Injury, the whole
then what
nine.
are
Yeah.
you doing?
Well, and I think there's kind of one key element that we haven't really talked so much about when it comes to these kind of things. And the biggest thing is, I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of the numbers and all that, is Dak that guy? Is he the guy that's going to take him to a championship? Is he the guy that's going to take him to an NFC championship?
I think he can. I don't think all the pressure of the Cowboys
It's the
come on Dak.
Cowboys. They're
Yeah, it's
not
the
gonna win a
Cowboys.
championship.
That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
I
It's
don't
the
think they are.
Cowboys. It's not Dak.
But my point is,
Yeah, it's the defense. It's the secondary. It's
right.
It's
But
the
at a
Cowboys.
certain
Yeah.
No,
point,
he's not.
at a certain point, though, you have to know, like, when do we cut bait and move on? You know what I mean?
And the reason why he hasn't got paid like he wants is because we're still asking that question. We know Mahomes can do
you
that.
paid
We know
DeMarcus
Russell Wilson.
Lawrence.
I think we know Russell
Hold on,
Wilson
bud.
can be that guy. We know Mahomes can be that guy. Like even Deshaun Watson, he got paid. He looks
Look
like
at
he
Lamar
can be that guy.
Jackson. He's already starting to get those questions.
And like
DeMarcus
Dak
Lawrence brings
Prescott,
$20 million a year.
Dak
Lawrence
Prescott,
doesn't
it's still up in the air. Is he that guy? If it had been answered, he'd get paid.
I don't think Dak is good enough to win a Super Bowl 100%. I've seen in the last 10 years multiple quarterbacks way less talented than Dak win Super Bowls. That's not the question for the Cowboys right now. I think a big question
We've
is
been
Lawrence.
talking about Dak and the Cowboys.
What
way
happened to
too long.
Lawrence
We
getting
need to move
$21 million
on.
a year and
Let's
vanishing?
move.
Yeah, well,
Let's move on.
Yeah.
all right. So, Mar, let's talk about your topic on your stance and your views on the first couple of weeks and moving forward into week 3 of the NFL. What do you have for us?
Well, as a Cleveland Browns fan, this is another year where it could be the year that they go back to the playoffs. They've got the talent. They have possibly the quarterback. Still not sure about Baker Mayfield. They've got Odell Beckham. They have Nick Chubb. They have Kareem Hunt. They have Myles Garrett.
Great running game.
They're deep.
On paper, they're good, but we said the same thing last year.
True.
And the problem with them, and it surfaces every year, is the leadership and this inconsistent leadership. Every few years, they're firing the coach, they're firing the GM, and they're starting over. And this guy wants to build a roster on his vision, and he's still using parts from the old
New
version.
GMs.
And you got this mismatched roster of guys that were brought in for different systems. So 2 weeks in, it's like week 1 they looked terrible, and it was like, oh man, same old Browns. They're gonna be terrible. Week 2 was like, okay, like
They're
they
nice.
look good, even though
Yeah.
they played the Bengals.
They played the
but
Bengals.
yeah,
They were
it's like
nice. They were solid.
So I'm looking forward to this Washington game because Washington, they showed a
Washington.
little something this year. I mean, they're not great, but they showed a little something this year. So it's like
They don't even have a mascot, bro. They don't even got a mascot, bro.
the team without a nickname. So, just looking forward to see. Okay, can Baker string together 2 good games in a row? Is Odell going to be involved this time?
I'm such a Baker fan, and I'm such an Odell fan, and I love
Mhm.
Chubb. I remember the Seahawks didn't draft Chubb; they drafted Carson instead. I was going rip my hair out. I'm like, God damn, I love Chubb. I think they have the whole package. There's just something about going. I don't know how you go. Like I played ball growing up, and when you go from one coach to the next, I mean, your whole environment changes. And I can't imagine being in a team, especially professionally, when you're going through coach GM,
Right.
coach GM. I mean, it has to be tough.
Yeah.
There's been no stability there as long as I've watched football.
This is
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield's 4th head coach in his 3rd season.
Well, we
Oh.
watched the same exact story go down with Alex Smith. The guy had 7 different coaches, 7 different offensive coordinators in his first 7 years in the league. How nuts is that? Every
insane.
single year, this dude walked into the locker room. They handed him a new playbook and said, "Okay, learn
And
that."
we've seen the same thing with Josh Rosen.
Yep. Personally,
yeah.
I think that Kevin Stefanski's the guy, though. Honestly, I
Mhm.
think he is. I think he runs the right system. That the Browns in general, that have seen their absolute most success when they're running the football effectively, playing stout defense. And Baker Mayfield, is very much a guy that I think has all the promise in the world. I mean, he broke the rookie quarterback record. He's shown tons of great ability, throwing ability, things like that. Obviously, he's slowly growing as a leader, as we've seen, but he needs
He has great
that
commercials.
run game. You're right, but
Right.
he needs that run game. He has to be with
He
a
needs that
coach
play
that's
action.
gonna pound the rock, allow him to roll out to the naked side there and utilize his legs and his athleticism in an almost Russell Wilson-esque way to extend the plays and throw the ball downfield. That's what we saw him do in college, and that's what he needs to have the ability to do in the NFL to be successful.
It's
And I don't
interesting-
think that's too far-fetched because that's what the NFL has become these days.
It's interesting that we're going to talk about the Browns and talk about their offense, but we haven't brought up OBJ,
Yeah.
who at one point we were saying he's the next greatest receiver of all time. We were saying that in the Giants' first couple. He had the first 2 seasons with the Giants. I mean, it was ridiculous numbers. We looked at him like, this is the next dude.
I've always thought he was overrated, to be perfectly
too.
honest.
He's a great catcher, a flashy catcher. That's about it.
Flashy. This is the
Flashy
thing.
catcher.
I saw a statistic the other day that blew my mind, and it showed. I forgot the exact numbers. I don't want to make it up, but it showed basically his career per game, and it said if you take away one of the big catch that he had that game, the biggest catch of the game, it came down to like 1 yard a catch. Yeah, he always has that one big catch during the game, but a bunch of bullshit catches. Basically, what the stats showed. What do you do with him? I mean, does he have any trade capital right now?
Here's the thing with OBJ is first and foremost, I'll say he is Ocho Cinco 2.0. That's what he is. At the end of the day, this is a guy who
I love
made
Ocho Cinco,
made
though.
one catch with his pinky finger. And Ocho Cinco had a great career. There's 90% of receivers that have ever played in the NFL would tell you that, yeah, I would take Ocho Cinco's career. Absolutely. But this is a guy who made a pinky finger catch, and then all of a sudden people are talking about him like he's Terrell Owens.
Stop it. His
Randy
first couple of
Moss,
seasons, he had phenomenal stats.
He did. But dude, they're putting him in these
With Eli
categories.
Manning.
With Jerry Rice, and I understand that, but we're talking about an Eli Manning who won 2 Super Bowls prior to OBJ. So
Because of a defense.
let's
Because of
put-
a
let's-
defense.
Yeah,
Because of a
still-
but
defense.
let's put a little
Eli was
context.
washed up. Eli was
Yeah.
washed up. And
He had- hey, listen, OBJ
has
ridiculous
anything.
I just
What
believe the
will
receivers
say
in
is
this.
that-
Yeah, go ahead.
go, Dre.
No, I'm just saying, like, okay, give Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, either one of those guys a damn OBJ, and what are
Money.
we talking about right
Well,
now?
and
Money.
we're
He
starting
has
to see
not
that.
had that.
100%.
We're
So
I
starting
agree with
to
you
have
so
that.
much.
You're
Yeah.
right,
So
Dre.
we have to look at the quarterback that's actually throwing him the ball, and that's just because I know all too well because I had Calvin Johnson on my team and I had Matthew Stafford, who's a great quarterback.
He was good. He was
But
good.
just think if Tom Brady had goddamn
Megatron.
No, you're
Megatron.
right.
We're talking
Tom
about the
Brady
greatest
had
wide
Randy
receiver
Moss
of
for
all
1
time.
year and threw for 50 touchdowns.
Record.
You know, we saw Drew Brees with Michael Thomas, and look at the record that Michael Thomas broke. Look at Russell Wilson with DK Metcalf. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. Then since this will be our first episode,
I mean, is Marvin Harrison the receiver that we think he is without Peyton Manning?
yes
I
and no.
think he
Well,
would
hold
be
on.
because he was so good at route running
Here's-
and with his hands.
I
I think
don't
Marvin
know.
Harrison would
Yes,
Marvin Harrison
yes.
would succeed anywhere.
I
Is
agree.
he a top 5 receiver of all time?
I think the better comparison is Reggie Wayne the same receiver he was without Peyton Manning.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and my point is that, and I'll say this officially on our first episode, by the time this man's retires, DK Metcalf will be in the same breath as Terrell Owens, Randy Moss, and Jerry Rice.
Whoa. Okay.
I'm telling you, that's his
Hey,
ceiling.
They're already putting out the memes about it. I mean, they're
It
already,
is.
they're already crowded
We
them.
can
They're already
go.
crowded
Hey.
them.
And so think
Hey.
about this. Hold on. Think about this. This guy spends, let's say let's say Russell Wilson re-signs again and again, right?
Yeah.
And he does spend 20 years with the Seahawks like he said he's wanted to. We're talking about a guy who could potentially spend 10 years of his career with a guy that will retire as arguably one of, if not the, depending on championships, greatest quarterbacks of all time. And DK Metcalf has the size, the speed, the route tree, which is totally underrated. People act like he can run route and that's it. But my point is that Dre is 100% right because Tom Brady gets Randy Moss, throws 50 touchdowns.
Right here. This is during the draft before we
there you
drafted
go.
Metcalf.
We
I
cannot
tweeted-
see that.
I tweeted. Hey, you can't see it, but I tweeted at our coach. I said, "Can you please draft Metcalf?" I tweeted that, and we drafted Metcalf. I was begging. I was like,
I think you, me, and about 10,000 other people. But here's the thing, dude.
but I felt special. When we got him.
We watched Drew Brees get Michael Thomas, and even in the twilight of his career, at a point where nobody's really ready to have the conversation that Drew Brees is kind of done, right?
It's week
and
2,
so
bro. Hold on.
He is, but again, so my point is that you give Russell Wilson a guy like DK Metcalf, and look at this. He's got 9 touchdowns to 1 interception. He has an insane deep ball threat, and he's also got a guy in Tyler Lockett. Like he's finally got weapons, and look at
He
what
has 9 touchdowns, 11 incompletions. That's ridiculous. 9
Yeah.
touchdowns to 11 incompletions.
first quarterback to ever do that, by the way.
Hey, Amar,
Best
what
quarterback in the NFL.
what are your thoughts on OBJ? He's your guy.
I think he's very talented. I think he's a home run threat. I was trying to think of a comparison, and I'm like, is OBJ talent wise that much better than Deshaun Jackson?
God damn,
I
that's a good one, bro.
I mean, he's-
Mm.
You know, home run threat.
That's a good
You
one.
know, he's got the speed and all that, but it's just like, Deshaun Jackson, as good as he was, it's like he's not. I don't think he's like a.
He's
I'm
not
sure
the next
he's a Hall
level.
of Famer,
No.
right?
No.
So yeah, I think like that could be OBJ. A lot of it's going to depend on what system he's in, what quarterback he has. That is kind of similar for a lot of receivers. But the same thing with Baker. He's been in Cleveland. He's had all these different coaches and different systems and different GMs, and it's just like he's going to need some stability, whether he stays in Cleveland or wherever he goes next. Stability and a good quarterback in a system that can kind of highlight his strengths.
So I'm gonna
Otherwise, he's
hijack Brian's hosting ability here real quick because I got a question for all of you guys, and let's start with Brian. I'm sure you guys all watched the Thursday night football game tonight, right? As this is being recorded.
My guy Minshew went to Washington State University. Shout out
Of course, hell yeah, WSU, let's go, baby. That's my neck of the woods. Okay, what the hell happened? So, Brian, let's start with you. What the hell happened to Minshew? Because in our episode last night, for those of you just now watching, unfortunately, we weren't able to get it recorded, but this was a game that I highlighted personally, right? Specifically because of him, because this was his game on the big stage, on the bright lights, or under the bright lights, to prove that he can take that next step as a franchise quarterback. And don't get me wrong, I truly believe, he's allowed to have games like this and make these mistakes. But I mean, man, he really could have proved something here. So Brian, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's a couple of things. I was kind of looking at the highlights off and on during the podcast. for one, that Jaguars defense is just not very good. And I think we kind of knew this going in. A lot of people kind of expected him to be a little better. But I mean, I'm looking at even at his numbers, 30 for 42. He just didn't get his team into the end zone. I mean, they have no run game. I really don't understand why they let
Fournette go.
Fournette go.
That's $2.5 million.
I don't get it. He's only been in the league for 2-3 years. He hasn't been the most healthy player, but I mean I'm looking at their stats. They barely had 80 yards total for the game rushing the ball.
And he wanted $3.5 million. He wanted $3.5 million.
Yeah.
Like too much money for him.
So that's a little bit of a problem. I think they're going to have to give. And one of the main thing I saw this on SportsCenter earlier today. He's already hearing the rumors of they're probably going to go get another quarterback right after him. That's a lot of pressure.
Who?
Minshew, Gardner.
Well, Minshew.
They might still go draft. They might. They're still thinking about drafting.
Minshew was 30 for 42 for 275 yards today.
Yeah.
As bad as they played, that's not horrible.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's not horrible. But the thing about him is he's actually playing a lot of pressure right now.
100%.
Simply because he may not be that guy. And my question is, just give him the rope for a couple of years and let him see what he does.
He might be the next Fitzpatrick.
Do you feel like he falls into a similar stigma, I guess you could say, as maybe Dak Prescott, even, where it's one of those things where like this guy has to play out of his mind solely to keep his job.
Yeah,
right.
If you put it like that, yeah, because these guys like Dak and these late draft picks, late in the draft, they come in having a lot to prove. So when they get into, they were only meant to really be backup.
And they're given no rope at all.
Yeah, and they're only meant to be backup quarterbacks.
But being a Cowboys quarterback and being a Jacksonville quarterback, there's different pressures.
Sure.
I'm gonna tell you this: Dak Prescott, for coming in, taking over Romo's spot the way he did, and to perform and win a playoff game the way he did, that takes pressure. You're talking about playing for an American team. That's different to play for Jacksonville. Yeah, right, Jacksonville doesn't matter. So you're talking
two different levels. I mean, there's levels to this shit.
When I say pressure, I'm talking pressure within the organization.
Right. Yeah. So with Dak Prescott, Dak Prescott can throw for 400 yards, rush for 3 touchdowns, throw for another one, and lead this incredible comeback win. And we all still don't know if he should get paid or not.
Yeah, we're still talking about how he has Cooper.
He should get paid. I just don't know if it should be by the Cowboys.
Right, but we're still
paid, but not by the Cowboys.
But us, as well as everybody else, is still questioning whether he's worth that kind of money.
He is.
Whether or not the Cowboys should save the dough and go. So, and Gardner is in the same situation.
He's in that same boat.
No, not to that degree.
Not to the degree.
In that same boat in the sense of this guy has played out of his mind to start the season.
Would you rather pay
one bad game that wasn't even that bad, and they're already talking about drafting another?
Would you rather pay Dak $40 million or pay Minshew $8 million and have $32 million to spend if you're a Cowboys GM? If you're Jerry Jones, would you rather pay?
I don't think Dak's worth $40 million, no matter which way you cut.
No, but he's going to be paid that. So I'm asking you a question: would you rather pay Dak $40 million or pay Minshew $8 million?
Yeah. So let's move on. I was just trying to make the comparison of Gardner Minshew is just in such a he's in such a rock and a hard place where this guy had to fight and claw his way, right, to become the starter last year after he got it by happenstance, got it taken away, was given back, and then was told, hey, here's the car, here's the keys to the car. Let's see what you do with it. Has a great start to the season, has one bad game, and then all of a sudden we're well, is he the guy? It's just I think he should be given a little bit more rope than that. So
the Jaguars weren't supposed to be good. They were supposed to be terrible this year.
Yeah,
there was, and you look at, they traded away Yannick Ngakoue, like their pass rusher. They got rid of Leonard Fournette. There was a theory that Jacksonville was basically going to tank this year,
season,
so they could draft Trevor Lawrence and hire Dabo to be their coach. So it's like, is Minshew just keeping the seat warm?
Exactly. How can you play in that?
Do they really think he's the guy? Or is he just kind of keeping it warm until they get Trevor Lawrence?
But that's my thing. That's what just blows me away, man, because if this guy came in here, and say, now 3 weeks into the season, had 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 500 passing yards, for just under 60% completion. I could understand that. That could definitely make sense to me. But we're talking about a guy who took the league by total surprise last year. I believe he ended the season with a 98 quarterback rating or passer rating. I could be slightly off on that, but it was pretty high. And now he started the season. If I remember correctly,
He's at 67 QBR, 512 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Exactly. So that's how he has started the season. That's pretty solid.
That's solid.
With the
You know what I
offensive
mean?
line, with the offense that they got, of course it's solid. That's a shitty ass team. Yeah, I think he's just in a tough position, man. He can't be good being in Jacksonville.
I agree. I think the guy deserves so much more slack.
But
I think he deserves a shot
that
to
team
be
was
that
this
guy.
close to making a Super Bowl a couple years ago.
That's crazy, man.
We almost forget they were this close to
Conference,
making the
yeah.
Super Bowl
With
And they blow
freaking
the whole
Blake
team up.
Bortles.
Blake
And
Bortles,
they
yeah.
blow the whole team up. What are you guys thinking?
Well, if you remember, the Jets did almost, I mean, granted, they didn't get that far, but the Jets won 10 games, fell like half a game short of the playoffs because of some crazy, ridiculous, this had to happen, that had to happen, this had to happen, and it just didn't fall their way. And then they took this 10-win team and said, nah, let's just go ahead and restart. And now we're looking at, again, just the pit of misery, you know?
Hey, I got to ask this. Who are you guys Super Bowl? Who's going to win the Super Bowl this year in your guys' opinion?
Seattle Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious that we spend so much time talking about the Browns and the Jaguars, and then we jump right to the Super Bowl. But
Yeah, you are, Vladdy, maybe don't take over host role like that again.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's
yeah,
a great
like, you got like transitions. Go like
Right. We got
bad
to
teams.
there's,
Like,
Who's gonna make the
okay, who was on
playoffs?
Super Bowl? No.
there's
Who's
levels
the-
to this shit, bro.
Yeah. Anyway, no Super Bowl pick. I picked the Saints to win it all last year,
Me too.
and I kind of want to stick with that. I think that the Breeze injury kind of, impacted him in the regular season last year. And then that playoff game that lost to Minnesota was just like, I don't know what happened there.
They got fucked last 2
But
years.
I don't see another team that's just like blow you away great. I mean, even the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, I could say Chiefs, Saints in the Super Bowl. Winner, I don't know. It's like, honestly.
I picked the Saints preseason, but I'm picking the Seahawks now after 2 weeks. What about you? What are you guys picking?
I got Cowboys,
The
Chiefs.
Buccaneers.
You got the
You got
Buccaneers?
Cowboys?
Cowboys, Chiefs.
Ooh.
The Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's
Cowboys,
winning it?
Chiefs.
Who's winning it?
I give it to Dallas.
Okay.
I give it to Dallas.
I personally have the Ravens and the Seahawks, with the Seahawks taking it. Dre, you said you got the Bucks. What's the match?
I have the Steelers and the Seahawks. I have the Steelers and the Seahawks in a rematch.
Ooh, I'd love to
Steelers,
see that.
Seahawks rematch. That's what I
Watch
got.
Big Ben get his. Anyways, Dre, what
wanna
do
know
you got?
Who the Bucks will go against in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got the Bucks. I don't know who.
He said, I'm just rolling with the
Alabama. They win the tie.
He said, I just know that Tom Brady's getting his. I don't know who it is, but they're winning it all.
But let me ask y'all, who's more stacked offense in the NFL than the Cowboys? Who at their very best is more talented than them boys? Let's say at their
Honestly,
very best. Who can really beat them?
The Saints. If the Saints are healthy, they're as talented as anybody.
so check
If they're
this
fully
out.
healthy, the Saints are as talented as anybody in the NFL on the Alpha.
This is
you got
low.
Kamara, you got Breeze. I mean, Tom. I
Thomas.
mean, you got a squad on the Saints.
Right.
But
right.
that's if they're healthy.
What you say,
So
Austin?
check this out. This is low key biased as fuck. Well, not biased as fuck. I truly do believe in this and honestly believe they deserve more credit. But I think the Seahawks, honestly, I think they are absolutely stacked, and most people don't realize that. DK Metcalf is going to be an absolute
stud.
breakout.
Is he better than Amari Cooper yet?
Yes.
And we also have Lamb. You think he's better than Amari Cooper already?
Yes. Absolutely.
You
I think
don't answer the
if
question,
I
then
think
get
as long
surprised
as
by the answer.
I think
I'm
as long
shocked.
as he can correct his drops, he'll end the season being considered one of the top 5 best wide receivers in the league.
Hold up.
Not only that, but you have Tyler Lockett, who's incredible, who has virtually catches everything thrown his way. You have
Better than Gallup? He's better than Gallup?
Tyler Lockett, absolutely.
Well, wow.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I'm gonna bring
Hey,
up
Offensive
our
line wise, I think the Cowboys are more talented. I just think Russell Wilson's that much better of a quarterback than
But
Dak.
that's the thing.
Sure,
is
sure.
When you add Wilson to that equation, you've also got a backfield that, for whatever reason, is vastly underrated. Chris Carson is a top 10 running back in the league.
He's not better
Why
than Ezekiel
people
Elliott.
keep forgetting
Yeah,
that?
he's no
No,
Zeke.
but I mean, Zeke's a whole different level. But my point is that people continue to forget that Chris Carson's the most consistent running back the Seahawks have had since Marshawn Lynch. And we're not talking consistent like, hey, he kind of gets the job done. This is a guy who led, like, he was the best running back on the league's leading rushing team just 2 years ago. And then in the next season, rushes for a career high in rushing yards, and then gets hurt in the playoffs, unfortunately, or before the playoffs or whatever, unfortunately. But my point is, he's incredibly good. And then their offensive line this year has actually played way better than years past. So I'm just saying, you combine all of that, and then you take that Russell Wilson cherry and put it on top, and just how flippin' amazing he is.
Or great.
I think you have to honestly consider them as one of the most talented offenses in the NFL.
Besides Wilson, I don't think a single player you mentioned is more valuable or
Then the other guy
higher. It ranks higher than the NFL than just Tyron Smith. Just Tyron Smith.
Oh,
Just that guy right there is a top 2-3 lineman in the NFL and has
Right.
been damn near his entire career. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about the overall. If I say, I think the only person you can all say is better than all those guys would be maybe Russell Wilson.
That's
Right,
the only
But
guy.
that's
And I'm not
it.
saying-
Because you got
I'm not
Zeke,
saying-
I got Amari.
You can't. Hey, listen.
Right,
I love a Lockett, but you can't tell me he's better than Gallup.
No, you can say he's better than Gallup.
Are you
Come
kidding?
on,
Are you high?
Man.
Are you high?
I
I
can't
don't
tell
see
you.
that.
I
just don't
love
see it.
Lockett, but he's not better than
Stop.
Gallup. He's not better than Gallup.
I don't see that. I don't see it. And I haven't even got to the defensive side of the ball. Gerald McCoy, Jalen. You know, I didn't even got Clinton Dix. You know, we added him in the offseason. I hadn't even really gotten to the defensive side. These are household names.
You're talking Michael Gallup, who could only muster 6 touchdowns and 1,100 yards last year.
That's a 1,000-yard year. As the
And
third
Michael
best-
Gallup,
as the fourth
so
option.
far has caught 5 passes all season, compared to Tyler Lockett, a guy who has year in, year out put up big time numbers.
What
has
did
year
Lockett
out
have last year?
been a reliable, consistent target for Russell Wilson. He put up almost 11. He put up 1,000 yards last year. He put up 2 more touchdowns than Gallup. The year before, he put up 965 yards on 10 touchdowns. And Tyler Lockett has easily been a more versatile player, especially due to his ability on kick returns when he actually did them.
Is Lockett more valuable to his team than DeMarcus Lawrence?
But well, you're missing the point is this. Hold up. Well, you're missing the point.
No.
You're talking about Lockett last year, where Lockett was our number 1 receiver.
No,
Gallup
I'm
was a
talking
number 2
about
receiver.
Lockett over.
That's a big difference. Lockett. No, I'm saying last year Lockett was our number 1 receiver. Gallup was our
He's like
number
the
2.
fourth option. He's like our fourth
Yeah.
offensive option.
And he had the same numbers.
You're
He had the
saying
same
that their
numbers.
fourth option.
Had
he
the
was
same numbers
second
as
option
Lockett.
last year, but you're saying a fourth option this
Who's
year
our first
is better
option?
than Tyler Lockett.
I'm just telling you right now that Gallup had
It was
2
Amari
less
Cooper
touchdowns, but more
And
yards.
Michael Gallup.
Yeah. So just, but they had a big running game. But what I'm saying is, Gallup he had 2 less touchdowns, but he had more yards, but he was the number 1 option. Our number 1 option last year was Lockett.
Right, but keep in mind we also had DK Metcalf who caught 900 some odd yards and
Sure, but they had another kid
So-
named Amari Cooper.
Austin, do you think also y'all's offensive line is better? Who's the better
No,
offensive line in Sunday's game?
Oh,
You think y'all's line is better than the Cowboys line?
No. I'm saying
Oh.
it's better than years past. No, here's the thing. I'm not saying that the Seahawks are more talented than the Cowboys.
I don't think of no one that's more talented than the Cowboys. I just can't
you're
think of
right.
anyone
They
more
do
talented.
have more.
Lawrence is
overall
it's
talent.
just been trash for you guys. What has Lawrence been doing? If he had
DeMarcus?
Lawrence if Lawrence could play some ball, y'all would be a real contender. He is your guys' X factor for the rest of this year.
Yeah,
You're
him and
paying-
Jalen
what do you
Smith.
$1 million a
Him
year?
and Jalen Smith.
So to get away from the Cowboys Fan Fest podcast here, who signs Earl Thomas and when?
I thought he was coming to Dallas last year.
Me too.
I thought he was begging to come to Dallas. I don't know why. What happened was
I knew that.
I know what happened. He got in trouble down in Austin. He was with his wife, and that shit went down
Yeah,
down
with the
here in
girl,
Austin.
sister,
Yeah,
brother,
and then
orgy.
Jared was like, never mind.
Hey,
Sorry,
yeah.
son. That's
You know
what
where he's gonna
happened.
go? He's gonna go to the Patriots, and he's gonna go to the same rub and tug as Kraft. They're gonna go get rub and tug together, and they with Kraft, and they're gonna have a good time together.
His wife
So
ain't
Dre-
playing that, bro. His wife ain't playing that, bro. You saw what happened last
Dre,
time.
who you got? Who's gonna
Patriots are gonna pick him up. The Patriots.
Thomas? I said,
Say that
Dre,
again.
who do you think is gonna take a flyer on Earl Thomas?
I have no idea. Yeah,
I said Patriots. just
What
for the
about
hell
you,
of it.
Amar?
I still like if you look at the rumor reports and all that kind of stuff. Dallas is still the name that comes up the most.
Yeah.
I still think that can happen. I mean, it's just like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, you just gotta like look around, and it might be one of them deals where it won't happen until mid-season. After some injuries happen, maybe, and there's going to be a
Right.
team that's like in desperate need of a safety who like maybe their top guy went down. That tends to happen with like guys who are veterans like that can just come in right away and contribute. So, there's going to be some team that, they're trying to make the playoffs or they're maybe trying to win a championship. One of their DBs gets hurt, and then we'll see Earl go there. Not knowing who that's going to be right away, I guess the clubhouse leader would still be Dallas.
Yeah. And I would think Dallas too, especially if some injuries take place. I know we picked up, like I said, Clinton Diggs, and the safeties are solid. I mean, we've had the same guys back there besides him for the last couple of years. But like I said, I'm just surprised he hadn't been picked up yet. That's real, especially by a contender. I could have seen him go to a contender.
I mean, I think it might come down to the fact that maybe he's because I remember when he was leaving Seattle, he got to this point where he got so big headed, where some guys get to where they need a certain amount of money to feel like they're justified to play. And I just don't know if he's worth the 15, 20 million or whatever the hell he wants now.
No.
Mhm.
Here's the
You
problem
know-
with Earl Thomas's predicament
Good
is
point.
he's in that weird stage in his career where he probably has like one, maybe even two more really
Solid
elite
years.
seasons, like solid elite Hall of Fame seasons left in him, just like last year with Baltimore. But the problem is the guy has obviously become known as a locker room cancer,
Problem
as
child.
an issue, a drama, all of these things combined. And then, yeah, you're right. Maybe the guy does want 15 million. Maybe he whatever.
He's not worth that.
Even at 10 million, right? Is it
I
worth
pay him
it on?
5 to 7 guaranteed.
Right. So
That's
the
it.
problem is that you've got a guy that really does have to kind of wait on injuries, is my guess or assumption. I could see honestly the Niners maybe taking a run at
Or
it
that
and just calling him
coronavirus.
on
One
the
of those.
Super Bowl, you know what I mean? Or I could see the Saints maybe trying to make a run at him just to kind of solidify things back there.
That's a good one.
Those are a couple different teams. That
I see the
personally
Patriots. I see the Patriots
yeah,
getting
the Patriots are definitely in that mix as well as the Cowboys, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying, some names that we maybe haven't thought of. The really the big thing is that I think it has to be a contender, because whoever it is that signs him is going to want to sign him cheap. They're going to want to sign him to a 1-year deal, and they're going to want to say, and they're going to have to sell him on the, hey, you're not going to get all the money, but you're going to win another Super Bowl with us, or at least get the opportunity to,
Yep.
and allow yourself to bounce back, because he does. He has 1 or 2 more really elite years left, and then he's just going to fall off a cliff like most safeties do.
Unfortunately.
but he might
And
need
he's not,
that.
and he probably doesn't want. He's been a long contender. I don't think someone like him. I don't think he wants to
Break it
play
up a little bit,
for-
Amar.
Hey,
Break
you're
it up a
breaking
little
You're
bit.
cutting up, Amar. Say that again.
You're cutting up.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, and then you're saying the contender is going to want him, and then I don't think he's going to want to go to any team that's not a contender.
Yeah, I agree.
He might
Safety
need
career.
that Cam.
He probably wants to win. He doesn't want to go to Detroit or I don't know, like Indianapolis or some team that's not really in the title mix.
All right.
He might need that Cam
What you mean
Newton
Detroit not
humble
in the
yourself
title
year.
mix?
He said,
might-
"What you mean, Detroit?"
All right. Before we end this, I do want to bring up one last thing.
Let's do it.
And especially it's in my Seattle Seahawks friends. It's in y'all's division. Them Arizona Cardinals.
Oof.
What are our thoughts? How serious
I'm
should we
nervous.
be taking them? I love Kyle Murray. I watched him play, when he was at OU and stuff. They got Hopkins, probably the biggest steal trade in all of sports history.
How do we not
All
get
of
him?
sports history. What do y'all think? Are they for real Seahawks nation?
Number
Are
one
y'all
thing I'm
worried?
going to say is somebody needs to meet up with whoever traded Hopkins and just give a backhand to the motherfucker that traded him in Houston. Just a backhand.
That'd be Bill O'Brien.
First of all, why weren't we called? I believe we could have gave up a second round pick for that dude. That's the biggest steal ever. And Kyler Murray is the real deal. There's something about these kids that are baseball, football players. Russell Wilson, Kansas City dude. What's it? I can't remember. Mahomes,
great baseball player. Texas,
Kyler Murray.
Texas.
So you
Tom Brady was a baseball player.
Tom Brady.
There's something about these baseball, football players now that are these freak athletes that are coming in. Kyler Murray's the real deal. Like, I watched him his rookie year. I was like, maybe. Watching him these first 2 weeks,
right?
This kid is the real deal.
Pretty
he's
ball.
Comfortable outside the pocket. He's comfortable in the pocket. He kind of causes audibles. He makes the right decisions. He doesn't throw the ball away. And now you gave him a weapon. I don't think they're a threat this year, but mark my words, next year they're gonna be fighting for that spot.
Honestly, I think that they are at least a threat to make the playoffs this year. I don't know necessarily about the division, because the fact of the matter is that we will see Kyler Murray crumble. We will. He just, whether it's in a divisional game or under the big lights or what, like he has to hit those stumbling blocks. And we've seen every player do it. And you know what? Better now than when you're on the 1 yard line of the Super Bowl throwing an interception. You know what I mean? So the reality is that the Cardinals are very, very real. I think they have an incredible offense there. Their defense is a bit of a work in progress, but it's doing work right now, So I just think that they honestly are maybe one or two solid veteran pieces away from like being not just like scary within the division, but also like being a true Super Bowl contender again, and it's just, but it's hard to say too, because I'll tell you, the NFC West, they've got one loss. The entire division has
toughest
one loss.
division in NFL. Toughest division.
So
I mean, if San Francisco 49ers didn't get all destroyed by injuries, I mean, you'd have 4 teams that are legitimate playoff teams in one division.
Right. I truly believe this division sends 3 teams to the playoffs this year. And Cardinals could be that sneaky team that beats out whoever, right?
49ers. Beats out the 49ers.
And the Rams keep doing
whoever.
And your Rams keep. I love Coach Austin. You look like the Rams coach. What's his name? McVay.
Sean McVay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, man, the Rams, they keep doing it. And do we know anybody on their fucking team? I mean, besides
Aaron Donald,
Aaron Donald,
Ramsey in the back.
Check it out.
They got the 2 players. On offense,
Hold on.
No one even knows they're a running back. Yeah, and we know Cooper Kupp because you remember that name, Kupp. Can't forget that.
Hey, Cooper Kupp grew up 30 minutes away from where I live, bro, or 40 minutes away from where I live. So,
hey, where the hell is Kennewick?
It's all the hometown love here.
Where the hell is Kennewick?
It's southeastern Washington, right before we
by
Oregon border. Yeah, we're 10 minutes away from the Oregon border. But check it out, Cooper Kupp comes into the Tri-Cities where I'm at, Kennewick, Richland, Pasco, every off season, and he rolls over to our Dodge dealer, Lithia Dodge over here, and picks himself up a free little demo rig, a $70,000 truck to drive all week or all summer whilst he's here or whatever the case. And I seen this dude in person, and that is the most unintimidating motherfucker I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, the dude, he looks like you, Vladdy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
bro, I'm telling you, when you see a lot of these guys in real life,
it is like that. They're not.
I was just with Thomas Rawls before I got here. Like, that dude's 5'9". Right. Last motherfucker, he's not somebody I'll be like, oh my God, I'm scared. Now, if you go see Aaron Donald in real life, that's when you're like, I'm not messing with that dude.
JJ Watt, Lance Campbell.
Whatever club he's bouncing, I ain't sneaking into. That's what I'm telling you.
But yeah, honestly, to answer your question, I think the Cardinals, they're if they're not real, they're damn close to it. So
what are y'all thoughts, Amar, Dre? What are y'all thoughts on the Cards before we wrap it up?
I think like earlier this week we were talking about MVP candidates this year, and I think most of us agreed that Russell Wilson's kind of due. He's because he hasn't gotten any MVP votes, and that's
I don't get that. Yeah, I don't get that.
The Russell Wilson I think
Cut out
though,
over-
I
oh,
was
there you go.
thinking of like who's a dark horse MVP candidate. You look at the last two MVP winners have been Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. Two, I think they were both second-year starters, or at least young starters. These athletic quarterbacks who kind of took the league by storm. And if you look at who could be that quarterback this year, Kyler Murray's the best.
Your shit
He's
is
the
going
top
out.
candidate to be that. Now, I don't think he'll get MVP because I think it's kind of Russell Wilson's to lose.
Yeah.
But could he get a
According to
Pro Bowl
Vegas,
selection this year? Yeah, like could Kyler Murray be a Pro Bowler this year? Yeah. Could he take Arizona to the playoffs? Yeah. And he can be the next kind of breakout star, just like Lamar was last year and Mahomes was the year before that.
I
So
got you.
today, Vegas released today's MVP thing. Russell Wilson is 270, by far the best. Number 2 is Lamar Jackson at 500, Mahomes at 500, and then third is Aaron Rodgers at 1100. So according to Vegas, Russell Wilson has a 4 times higher chance to win it than Aaron Rodgers, which I thought was pretty interesting of a stat.
That is pretty interesting.
Yeah. So, anyways, man, that was a great show today, man.
No, that's good. It's all good, man. Did y'all have any last closing words or statements? Anything you want the folks to look out for? Any videos you might be dropping?
Hey, I'm just saying, go on YouTube, follow us. Go on our Facebook page, Facebook group, Crazy Ants Sports. Add that and keep following us. And we're gonna keep releasing content, make it better and better by the day. That's all I gotta say.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I agree. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you drop a comment. Get in on the discussion with us. Hit us up on Facebook and just make sure you turn that bell on to get notified every time a new video drops, because not only will we be doing this weekly with all of us, but yeah, we are each going to be kind of branching off doing our own show. A few of us are going to be doing shows together, just different things like that. So this is, I think that if you enjoy the content here and enjoy the conversations, we will get better as time goes on. But yeah, just hit that button, make sure you come out and watch these videos and again, drop comments, get involved in the conversation. And just remember, Seahawks are going to win this weekend 35-21, and Russell Wilson's the best quarterback
All
in
right,
the league.
we're gonna put that down.
Let's go.
All right, Mark, Dre, y'all good? Any final statements?
I'm gonna say that I think that something to look forward to this week is that even though Russell Wilson was just named the Vegas frontrunner for MVP, you're still going to hear Seahawks fans saying he's disrespected and he doesn't get any love or any attention.
That's
Just watch.
true.
It's gonna
That's
happen.
real. Well, we gonna watch. First thing he gonna have to do, he's got to stop them Cowboys because we coming. Them boys is coming. All right, y'all. But if that's all,
All right,
for
let's
everybody,
go.
it's good. It's been your favorite starting 5, and we're gonna be back with y'all next week. Y'all take care.
Let's go. See ya.